Because that's the API that becomes no longer backward compatible when there's like a server name change or there's like some,
I'm Richard Lee. I'm the head of the QD team here in EQR. I started looking at the camera, do everything wrong. So I worked at a big tech company. I was fairly junior, but I worked on this tiny button or tiny check mark, like in some tiny corner of the product, right? And to this day, I have never actually found a real human being who like got value out of the work that I did, right? Whereas here, it's not an exaggeration to say that that happens every day. Like everything that we work on, I can see like, either the P&L number or the real human being who is like affected by the work that we're doing.
Yeah, what would it look like if we tried to have everything in one graph?
I think that people really impose barriers for themselves and think, okay, here's what I'm allowed to do, right? I think one of the things I think of my job is like removing those barriers from people. It's just a function on an existing.
Exactly. It's just a hook. It's just a function that you attach.
We don't have official levels. We don't have a formal process for promotion. When people are ready for responsibility, we give it to them. And we think about responsibility in terms of the scope of the problems you're able to solve, the level of ambiguity of the problems you can solve. Are you able to just solve problems, or are you able to think about our business goals and figure out how do we get there? I'm always telling people like, hey, here's what I think. What do you think? Like, where am I wrong? And I think one great example of this is Perry, my boss. He was always looking for people to push back and tell him where he's wrong, refine his ideas, and we always come out stronger at the other end, right?
So is there maybe like an alternate method of graph construction or something that we could use?
I'm a big believer in learning by doing, right? I think that like action is how you learn. And I think in that regard, we have an amazingly rich environment here, an amazingly rich set of resources for people to learn, because we have such a rich set of problems, because we have kind of people to learn from in terms of how to approach those problems. Getting feedback from the people who are actually using your software, or getting the feedback from the trades, from the market, from the P&L, like that is what drives like success more than anything else. If you don't have that feedback, you just won't go anywhere. And then you can learn and improve for next time. Both Perry and I are we're allergic to process, and I think we really believe in kind of keeping the team small as an antidote to that, right? If you have strong people and small teams that talk to each other, collaborate, work well together, it's also just more fun to work in that environment.